tell me, how seriously do you take Elon Musk? He hasn't filed any paperwork on this. It's just been an announcement on X.
Yeah, I mean, I've been reporting over the last 72 hours to get a sense of how what Musk is telling people behind the scenes. I mean, the reality is this is pretty conceptual for him. He is not well versed in the blocking and tackling of setting this up, which would be, to put it lightly, an extraordinarily complicated effort in calls with kind of experts and with friends and in texts. Musk has been signaling basically what he's saying on Twitter, that he's interested in doing this. He is learning in real time and asking Grok, his AI chatbot, for more information about how exactly this could be structured. But there is not some secret plan. He is doing this as we all see it.
I wish you could have seen Jeremy's face when you talked about him asking Grok, Teddy, because it was entertaining. Jeremy.
Not a joke. It's not a joke.
Not a joke.
Wow.
But listen, here's what he says on Twitter, Victoria. He says, one way to execute on this would be to laser focus on just 2 or 3 Senate seats and 8 to 10 House districts. Given the razor-thin legislative margins, that would be enough to serve as the deciding vote on contentious laws, ensuring that they serve the true will of the people. I mean, that is interesting, this idea of just focusing on 2 or 3 seats in his America party.
I mean, I think like so many of Musk's initiatives, he's coming at this from the outside, sort of saying like, I alone have a solution here for a thing that he maybe doesn't have as much experience with. And I think we saw this really clearly with how he approached Doge. And so while there maybe could be something interesting to focus on particular seats or very specific issues, the reality is that I think the idea of possibly winning districts for a new party might be a much greater hill than he might be willing to climb. But could you maybe mess with an election? Could you peel votes away? Could you be a spoiler? That might be possible.
How much desire does he have, Teddy, to actually hire the people who might be able to help him with this? I mean, he might not have such a great idea or a great background on how to figure this sort of thing out. But there are people out there that do. And there are people that want there to be a third party. There are political professionals who know how to do the paperwork, who know how to lay the groundwork, who know how to target voters. They don't have the money that Elon Musk has. Do you see him having any meetings, or is there any intention of hiring the people to help him get this done?
Well, those people probably aren't going to be Republicans, Katie. I mean, that sort of is the concern that I'm hearing from people around the party right now. Is Musk is surrounded by Republican operatives who helped him support, stand up this super PAC to help support President Trump in 2024. But President Trump has made clear, and I know the White House is watching, that people that are associated with this third party effort, which functionally would be an anti-Trump effort, could face retribution in Trump's Republican Party. So I think you're getting at a question here about who is going to be doing the advising or kind of the legal work for this. You could be putting a target on your back in a way that if you're an ambitious Republican who wants to have a long career in Donald Trump's Republican Party, you do not want to sign up for a third party effort. So there is a world of kind of like political mercenaries who do third party efforts. And I'm sure the pay will be good if this effort ends up being real. But I am very curious, and we're trying to report this out right now, what types of people would sign up to advise Elon Musk on this, because it's not going to be traditional Republicans.
Well, that is interesting. And also, I mean, I think we should mention this. Katie Miller, Stephen Miller's wife, Victoria, is now one of Elon Musk's closest advisors.
Yeah, she was Doge's spokesperson, and she left the White House with him. But back to this point that Teddy was bringing up, I think even if you have Musk's money, you can see the disorganization that America PAC experienced. My colleague Jake LaHoot reported about how they were, it was an incredibly disorganized effort in Michigan. They had people in U-Haul vans door knocking. I think there's an element here where so much of this is haphazard. And secondly, I think, while he may be surrounded by Republican operatives, I think more than anything what this highlights is that there's always been a schism between the traditional right, or what we're seeing as the sort of MAGA right, and the tech right, which frankly has very different priorities in the long run, although they have overlapping interests.
So that's interesting there. I mean, there is that schism that Victoria was mentioning. There's also just a big chunk of Americans think more than ever, who are tired of the two-party system and don't believe the Republicans or the Democrats adequately represent them and are desperate for another option.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen this movie before. I don't know how many times people have tried to come in and form a third political party, right? I think it sounds about as fanciful as Elon Musk's initial vision of cutting $2 trillion from the federal budget.
I think we've had a lot of people come in and say this, but no one's been the richest man in the world.
Right. That is true. You can pour an awful lot of money into things, and that's and make them successful. I wouldn't discount the impact that a fortune like that could have on American politics, and I think we saw, one impact of it in the last election, certainly. But at the same time, the reality is that Elon Musk is not the political cult figure that he seems to think he is. When he started this buddy movie with President Trump, and they were appearing.
Elon Musk's audacious move to launch the America Party amid his explosive feud with President Donald Trump has sent shockwaves through the political landscape, raising questions about the billionaire's influence and the feasibility of disrupting America's entrenched two-party system. The saga, rooted in Musk's fierce opposition to Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill Act, a sprawling tax cut and spending bill signed into law on July 4th, 2025, marks a dramatic unraveling of a once-tight alliance. This clash of titans, between the world's richest man and a polarizing president, offers a riveting case study in power, betrayal, and political ambition. The feud ignited when Musk, who poured nearly $300 million into Trump's 2024 campaign and briefly led the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, denounced the bill as a disgusting abomination that would balloon the federal deficit by an estimated $3.4 trillion over a decade. His public attacks on X, where he has 220 million followers, escalated from policy critiques to personal jabs, including a now-deleted post hinting at Trump's impeachment. Trump retaliated on Truth Social, branding Musk off the rails and threatening to slash billions in federal subsidies to Tesla and SpaceX, even hinting at deporting the U.S. citizen. The public spectacle, likened to a Mean Girls showdown, has captivated onlookers, with social media buzzing about the big, beautiful breakup. Musk's America Party, announced on July 5th, 2025, aims to represent the 80% in the middle, a nod to his ex-poll where 80% of respondents backed a new party. He envisions a laser-focused strategy, targeting 2 to 3 Senate seats and 8 to 10 House districts in the 2026 midterms to wield influence in a tightly divided Congress. Yet, the billionaire's plan faces daunting hurdles. The Republican-Democratic duopoly, dominant for over 160 years, is fortified by complex state ballot access laws and entrenched voter loyalties. Historical third-party efforts, like Ross Perot's 19% vote share in 1992, fizzle without lasting impact, and experts like election lawyer Brett Capel warn that even Musk's vast wealth may not overcome these barriers. What drives Musk's pivot? His libertarian streak, once aligned with Trump's anti-regulation ethos, clashed with the president's deficit-exploding bill, which cut electric vehicle tax credits vital to Tesla. Musk's vocal support for fiscal conservatism and his frustration with a perceived uni-party system fueled his rebellion. Yet his political track record is mixed. His $20 million push for a Wisconsin Supreme Court seat failed, signaling limits to his financial clout. Trump, meanwhile, dismisses the America Party as ridiculous, banking on his 40% approval rating and GOP loyalty to weather the storm. This feud's fallout could ripple into 2026. Musk's deep pockets could fund primary challenges against Republicans who back the bill, like Representative Thomas Massie, potentially fracturing the GOP. However, his businesses face risks if Trump follows through on subsidy cuts. The America Party's success hinges on Musk's ability to translate online momentum into real-world votes, a tall order in a polarized nation. For now, this clash of egos is a high-stakes gamble, with Musk betting his wealth and influence against America's political machine. Subscribe to our channel for latest updates.